moving on to an interesting study, the Miami Heat. They've just, a couple of days ago, their 13-game winning streak was snapped. They then followed their 13-game winning streak with two bad losses, a loss to the 76ers, who didn't have Embiid that game, and a loss to a loss to the Magic. But then they did win against Houston just before the break. So obviously, the key here is their very unexpected 13-game win streak from a team that started the year 11-30. So they had the second worst record in the NBA through 41 games. And then they went on a 13-game win streak, which kind of came out of nowhere considering they don't have an all-star. They have Hassan Whiteside, obviously, who's one of the best centers in the league, but he's not
up there yet.
He's not a dominating. He's in the same mold of a DeAndre Jordan, as in he's a good player, but he needs a point guard and he needs someone to set him up to be effective because he doesn't have the ability to generate his own shot, so to say. But a lot of the credit needs to go to some guys who probably haven't got that much credit before. Dion Waiters, who typically just gets mocked because Dion has a habit of just charging towards the rim and then forgetting that he's playing basketball and just throwing
putting it up,
just throwing it into
seeing what happens.
Yeah, just seeing what happens. But he's been on fire. He averaged 21 points over their 13-game win streak. Hit a game winner against Golden State. Hit a huge shot against Brooklyn. He's averaging 16 points for the season. He's a career high 38% from three. So, I mean, and this is the thing with lower teams like Miami who don't have an all-star. It gives these guys a chance to actually show what they're made of because they're not role players anymore. They're actually getting a chance to show this is what I can do. I mean, Dion Waiters was a really high pick. He's not a player who was taken late in the draft. He was a really high pick. So he does have talent. And we're just finally starting to see that. Goran Dragic is averaging over 20 points, 42% from three, 49% from the field. He goes under the radar as well as he's a solid point guard.
He does what your team needs.
Yeah. And then obviously Hassan Whiteside, we mentioned, averaging 16.8 points, 14.1 boards, and in the league leaders in blocks. There's a few other guys as well that not many people would know of who over this stretch have performed really well. Rodney Magruder, which I don't think many people would have heard of that name before. No. He took over the starting small forward after Winslow's injury. He's shooting 33% from three. Winslow's only a 20% shooter, so he spaces the floor for them. And he's also one of the best isolation defenders in the league. So he's giving up only 0.7 points per possession when he's being attacked one-on-one. So that's an underranked player or kind of a no-name player who's playing really well. Willie Reed, James Johnson, Wayne Ellington, a few others who are really playing some high-level basketball when people wouldn't necessarily expect them to. They currently sit in the 10th spot in the East. They're 2 games off being in the playoffs. Do you reckon they can make the playoffs? They're still probably just out of the picture.
Even though they've been on a streak, though, before that, they've been a bit...
Yeah. Obviously, they did start, as we mentioned, they did start 11-30, so... There are some weaknesses. They will get Josh Richardson back, who's a really exciting young player who's been out for quite a while now, so get him back soon. A lot of credit needs to go to Eric Spoelstra as well, because a lot of people discount his ability to coach just because he had LeBron and Wade and Bosh and the talent. So this shows that he can seriously coach if he's doing it with this team. So it is very impressive by the Heat. I still think they will just fall short of the playoffs, but still, to go on that kind of winning streak is... And it wasn't... I mean, they beat teams like Houston, they beat Golden State, they beat Atlanta. To do that without a single all-star, that's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. Yeah.